Hey, John.
Hey, Elise, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So excited to talk to you and meet you.
Yeah, thanks for, I'm pretty excited to, have a success to talk about here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to know, tell me your real estate investing journey. When did you get started? How'd you get started?
So, the very beginning was years and years ago. I think I saw someone actually just on a Bigger Pockets podcast talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad when they were in high school. And I was like, you know what? I think I read that when I was in high school. And it was just kind of like always in the back of my mind. And then a couple of years ago during grad school, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this one day. And I was just reading and reading and reading, doing a lot of stuff. I analyzed a lot of data for my day job, and I was making Excel spreadsheets and just let's just see what I'd have to buy something for to make it cash flow or do whatever. Um, and then after I got out of grad school, then I was like, okay, now I'm actually try to start like putting in offers, and I'm gonna like drive for dollars, and it's all stuff. And it was I would keep taking like these baby steps forward, and then something would happen. Either like I switched jobs, or like I moved to Austin for 6 months, like and I was commuting back and forth between New Orleans and Austin for work. And so it was just like that put a halt to things. And then, I was mailing, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, I'm not going to go like look at people's houses right now. Like, I don't know. My wife was pregnant at the time. It's like, I'm not going to go like into whoever's house, like halt the brakes. Um, and then after all that, after being in Nina for about 6 months, it was kind of like, okay, it's time to like get this going again. And that's kind of when I found DealMachine. I was like, all right, I already know, like, I want to just drive anyway because I don't know the area. I want to see some houses. I want to know what's around. And so I signed up and was just like, I'm just going to use this because I've done mailers before and it was a pain. I would, print the letters from my house, and I'd, put the picture of each of the houses on the outside of the envelopes,
Oh
and
my
like do all
gosh.
this stuff. And it was just like, it would take me forever to send 100 mailers, right? So I was just like, I already know I don't have time for that. Like, this is the thing that I would have made if I would had time to like just make something. So let me just use this. Um, and then yeah, I started driving, and it was pretty quick after that when this happened. Because I think, well, it's just now April 1st.
Yeah.
So mid-January was when I was like, okay, I'm starting again.
Okay. Okay. And how many, like, what was your, I have so many questions because, like, you have such like, a really amazing story. Like, you just threw a ton of obstacles that came in your way and you still, like, went through. Congratulations on your child, by the way.
Thank you.
And is it a girl, boy?
He is a boy. He's our second boy.
Oh my gosh, I love. How old's your first?
He's going to turn 3 next week.
Oh my gosh, does he love his little brother?
He is. It's been, like a transition. Like, he liked him at first, like he likes a new toy. And then it was kind of like, wait a minute, now mom and dad talk to like him all the time and hold him all the time. And he is a little upset, but I think he's come back around
Eh,
now that they're old enough to like look at each other and smile at each other. He likes them more again.
yeah, I did that as an older sibling. I loved him at first, and then I realized he was taking the attention away. But then we ended up being best friends, so it'll
Are
be.
you an oldest?
I am.
Me too.
See, well, you
Yep.
end up. I mean, if we're being real, you end up learning that you can like take advantage of them and stuff like that too. So
Oh, absolutely.
my poor brother. Lord. Okay, so you started in mid-January. How many properties did you have like a goal of how many properties you wanted to get in like a week or a day, or how'd you kind of get that going?
um, yeah, so I have like a board over here, and it has, way more leads that I was supposed to get to than I actually put in. Um, so I work full time during the week. I do work from home. So it's kind of like just when I could sneak a drive in, I would go. And then when things got busy, like I just couldn't go do it. Um, and so I wanted to get like this previous quarter, like 500 leads put in. I think I wrote that I put in 54.
Before
So
and you
like,
got a deal?
I think I like this was a long time coming, but like I was better to be lucky than good this time.
Oh, this is amazing. I do want to caveat that this doesn't normally happen for a lot of people, but I'm really excited that it happened for you because 54 properties. Okay, dive me into it.
I will say maybe I'm off by a month. So maybe so that was 54 this quarter. So actually I think I have a total of 300 something in DealMachine. So like if I go a little bit further back, there's like 1 or 2 weeks where I like really was going a lot.
I love it. Okay, so tell me how this property or this deal came to fruition.
So, I got a few calls back from the mailers, and this gentleman called me and said, like, hey, I got your letter, your postcard. I'd be interested in seeing what you have to offer. I was like, great. Well, what's the address? And he was like, I don't know. I got several of them. So he's like, oh, I have 9 that I would want to sell. I was like, oh, okay. Well, what's the address on the postcard you're holding? Let's start with that one, and then we'll go from there. And so the one of them I went and looked at first was vacant. And he actually had already done a lot of like just put a new carpet, just painted everything. He's owned it for quite a number of years. And it's almost like it needs some light fixtures, like a piece of siding fixed, and like arguably new windows. Like that's it. But like otherwise, it's like almost ready to go. And so I was like, well, I like this one. Like, let's talk about the other 8. And then at that point, I was like, well, I've bought my own house, but I've never closed anything else or anything. So it's like, let me call up someone else. So I called up another investor in the area who does a lot of stuff that I met at the local real estate association and partnered up with him. And so he and I together then went and looked at the other 8 and looked through them, figured out repairs, came up with some extra strategies, and then just yesterday closed on all 9 of them.
Oh my gosh, I need to get a bell or something in here. So crazy. Like I want to do a popper or something.
Yeah.
9 properties that you locked up. So how are you partnering with the guy? How did you work that out with the other 8?
So originally we had thought we would kind of like, they're all in really good areas. So it was like, we could each take some as rentals because I want to acquire rental properties. And I was like, well, I like 1 or 2 of these and I feel comfortable buying 1 or 2. And he's like, okay, there's a couple I would take and we'll just sell off the others basically. Eventually the numbers didn't work out for us to want them as rental properties. And so almost like, it's like almost unbelievable to me. And it's like, I guess if you're new, like ask for help, because then we ended up, he actually like just bought all 9 of them with his own money. He's like, I don't need anything coming in from you. And then he and I signed a JV agreement basically to then, work together, get them just flipped essentially, and just split the profits afterwards. So like for me learning, I'm like, he's like, so I'll do this. And then you found them. So we'll split it 50-50. And I was like, okay. Just let me think about that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Fair. Oh my gosh. So he bought all 9. Then you guys are flipping them and then going to sell them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So he called me yesterday after closing and was like, okay, the one that's vacant, I already have a cash buyer lined up for basically like full retail value. And another one, he said he's got the buyer lined up for already. We got to get the tenant out before he's going to buy. But like, just like day 1 of closing with those 2, like a $50,000+ spread. So
and
like,
that's not, okay, so that's before split and that's only on 2.
Yeah.
So just an estimation, how much do you think you might get from all 9?
Well,
I know that's hard.
It's hard because I don't like to count my chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
And I'm very much like, if this goes south. So I'll put it this way. The ARV for all of these that we came up with was a little over $1 million. And we bought all 9 of them for $550,000.
Oh my God.
So, you gotta, take in repairs could be 250-ish if we did the repairs, but we might not because we were just kind of like wholetailing them, is kind of the goal. But there's a pretty big discount off of ARV in there that we're working with. So
is he an agent then?
His wife he is just real estate investor. So he flips, he rents, wholesales.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Way to have a heck of a first deal.
Yeah.
I can see it now. I'm just going to put 1 postcard equals 9 properties.
Pretty much. I think I'll be fair. I think I did actually send postcards to 2 of the 9.
Okay. Do you know which, did you have it on like a campaign with like repeating mail?
Yes, actually I did. So I think I set it up because like the first campaign, I set it up to do, 3 total mailers every 21 days, essentially like what the default was. And he actually did make a comment to me that like, I get these all the time, but you sent yours more than once. So I called you.
That's always good to hear. Like, I love when they say something about the postcard because they do get a ton of them. Do you mind me asking which postcard you used and if you customized it at all?
I forget which template I was using. I kind of basically didn't. I think I used the ones like red and black with the house property on there. But like kind of jumping into it, like I have a tendency to get into things. I'm like, my tendency is to like really figure out the exact right thing and do it. And so as like in real estate investing, I keep like bringing myself like, okay, I'm essentially the CEO here. Like, what's more important, like getting the mailers going or figuring out which mailer? And it's like, I could just think of reasons why one would be better or not until I actually send them. So I was just like, didn't worry about the customization, just basically like, went through the templates. This one looks fine. Maybe I did the red and blue one or the black and blue one. I think reading the E-Myth Revisited years and years ago, they have a thing in there. It's like salesmen who wear blue do better because it's a more like inviting, comforting color type of thing. So I think I might have used a blue one, but beyond that, I just like get it out, just push it out.
That quote right there from you is like perfect. It's people get stuck in analysis paralysis and I also do that as well. So like just doing it, not to be a Nike commercial, but that is like what you need to do. It's just do it. So yes. Congratulations. You blew my mind today, like 9 properties. And the fact that it's so good that he gave you that feedback too, because then that reaffirms to you that what you're doing is going to work, is working. Yep. So what does, so you talked about wanting rentals. What's your like goal for 2021 then moving forward? I mean, I'm going to get into the fact of juggling like W-2 and all that stuff, but like what's 2021's goals for you in the real estate investing world?
Well, again, I look back at my board here. I have buy 5 properties and wholesale 12 contracts I wrote down at the beginning of the year. I am waiting to talk to an accountant before I get probably too far going on the purchasing for strategic reasons basically. Yeah. but I think my like immediate goal now is to basically get this money coming in, and then I'm interested in hiring drivers and kind of scaling it that way. Because I've already recognized, like, you know, I told you I did 54 out of 500 for the quarter because I have a full-time job, and like it pays me more than driving, so I'm gonna do that and make sure that I do what I need to do there.
Mm-hmm.
But like also long term, like, you know, this is limitless, right?
Right.
Salaries can get pretty high, but they're still kind of capped, right, by the nature of salaries, basically.
Right.
So I'd say like my more immediate goal for the year is figuring out the scaling up of getting leads in. So I joke with my wife a lot that I told her I've really been focused on not spending a lot of time, but getting a lot of return out, which means I spend a lot of time figuring out how to systematize things.
Yeah.
But this more recently, it's kind of been like, okay, I have to do it at least once to figure out, right, how to turn it into a system. And so like now I'm like, okay, I got drivers. And so I'm already thinking if I get some drivers, I'll get practice to be actually close some deals on my own instead of just calling in someone else to do it. And then once I close a couple, then it's like, all right, now I got to hire someone to go close for me, and then, you know, move from there. So like, that's kind of like my long-term vision or goal, is just keep turning this into its own self-sustaining business. And then I have deals coming in, wholesale and flip them, or buy, which is ultimately I want to build a portfolio.
I love that. That's so smart too, because you do have, time is so precious. And that kind of answered my question of, you know, you have this W-2 job, but you also have a family. So it's like balancing everything, and what your solution is will definitely help with that. So I think that that's an amazing goal. Are you on our professional plan then, or are you on our basic plan?
I got started on the basic plan.
Okay. I mean, that's perfect, because that'll get you on to having at least one driver. And then once you get that, you can just easily scale up from there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for you. Like, you have to let me know how it goes. Like, keep me updated per quarter, because I just see this going far for you, especially with like, you got this nice chunk of change to invest in the business and do all that. Now, is the goal to end up quitting the W-2?
So yes and no. I really like my job. I have fun doing it. I enjoy doing it. So I'm in no rush to leave it. And if I can scale this using only a little bit amount of my time, then I would just stay. I mean, like you know, again, like stepping out even like bigger from just like, why am I even trying to do this business? You know, my wife and I both like our jobs. They take care of us. They take care of our family. But both of us would like to, like, quote unquote, retire in 10 years is like our timeline, where retire just means like, if you're not liking your job, then you can say like, I'm going to come back in a month. And, you know, if you want to hire someone else, that's fine. If you like the work I do, then I'll be back then, or what, you know, whatever. Or like, you know what, I don't like this, I'm going to go do something else, or whatever it is. So, you know, I'm not doing it to get out of my W-2 job. I like it.
That's perfect. I mean, I like my W-2 job. So I totally get it, because I feel bad when people say like, I want to quit my W-2, but I love my W-2. So I'm glad that someone else like also likes theirs, because this is just but it does make you have your goals, and like you said, salaries cap and they're slow, so you have to do something else, and the fact that you like it too, so you have something else that's an outlet for you to, you know, help your family, but also like do something that you like. So that's amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, at least thank you. This has been fun. Yeah, it's fun to finally talk about something happening, and like, yes,
we get to celebrate. I really do need a bell. Because that's
years and years in the making for anyone else who hasn't gotten it yet and is still trying.
That's a great way to, I always actually ask this, like, what is a piece of advice you would give someone when they're just starting out in real estate investing that you wish you would have known?
I don't think I have anything like groundbreaking other than what you would get from listening to real estate investing podcast. Like literally everything is like, don't quit. If you quit, you won't succeed. It's just like, literally don't quit. I guess like what I would add to that is like, it's much easier to keep going if you just do it without spending very much money. It's like, it's very easy for me to justify to continue to put an hour here, an hour there, like print out my own mailing labels. Cause I was like, yeah, this is not that efficient, but like if I lose $50 printing, like, and I don't go anywhere with this, like whatever. And it's not like I was like, I'm going to jump into like the enterprise level software suite that's going to cost me, you know, $1,000 a month to have this and that. And this. It's like, those tools have their place, right? But like when I was getting started, I think that might have helped me, was just that I was like figuring it out from scratch. So it took a long time, but also, again, I had another job and I was learning and all these things. So it's like, don't quit, and also don't like dig yourself a hole of like debt, maybe if you're unsure of how it all works or how you would close the deal once you actually got a lead after spending X thousands of dollars to get it or whatever. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's like you go on Bigger Pockets. Everyone just says, I would have just said, just don't quit, like don't quit. And that's all it is.
That's what I didn't realize. I know that people watch these, but they do watch them when it's like a low point or they need inspiration. So like you could have just, you know, given someone some really good oomph to be like, okay, don't quit. But I love that you did, you know, you have more of an appreciation once you do all of those hard things, right? Because you're just like, hey, I did do that. And like you said, you're like, I want to just do it. I want to do it and say I did it. And then I can start outsourcing all these things and doing all that. So I commend you I've also stuffed envelopes and hand wrote on a bunch of them. So like, I commend you on that. It is a time eater sucker, but
oh yeah,
it got you to where you're at now. And I'm just so excited to hear about it. So please do keep in touch and let me know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so
you can
hopefully,
give me crap,
you know,
when the Packers beat the Bears this year.
I'll try to be nice.
Okay. Now you can give me crap for it.
All right. Well, Elise, thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you and meeting you. It's like, you know, I get all the emails and see, you know, all your videos. And so it's cool to actually get to say hi.
Hey, real person. I hope we can actually meet in person someday, because that's like, I'm hoping that'll be sooner rather than later. How hot did it get in New Orleans?
I mean, you know, like 100 with 100% humidity. Just like you have to swim when you walk outside. It's insane.
Oh, that's good to know. I won't go in I want to go to New Orleans, but I won't go apparently in the summer. I'll wait till like spring or fall.
Yeah, you want to go in the spring.
Okay.
Or the fall, but don't go in the summer.
Duly noted for my travel plans. I will wait until the fall.
Wait until the fall. Yes, do not go in the summer. It's not fun.
Okay, good to know. Awesome. Well, thank you again. I want to be wary of your time, but I hope you guys have a great morning. Afternoon.
Yes. What time is it? Morning. Yeah.
Morning.
All right.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Elise.